two people that I very much was looking forward to when AEW started, when they were free agents, when I was learning about, because I famously said in a joking way, tongue in cheek, that I didn't watch wrestling because I was disappointed and whatever, wasn't happy with what I was doing creatively a few years ago. And there was up and comers out there for every different company there was, and I was checking out different people, and so many people would say online, you got to see Will Ospreay. He's doing the greatest, coolest stuff in the world. And then the other half of the people would say, check out Will Ospreay's cool stuff, but there's nothing there. There's no promo. There's no character. He can just do a bunch of flips. And boy, have I been effing impressed with his promos every step of the way. I don't know. It's because everybody was like letting me know that, like, hey, just a flip guy, whatever the hell it was. And I was blown away. And every couple of weeks, he does some promo that gets me amped up as a guy who has seen it all, who is watching this for work, who's just watching wrestling and enjoying it and going, damn, here we go. All right, this is even bigger than it was supposed to be. And I really, really, I'm not even going to say watch him grow because I didn't. I just watched him be good at someone like, what a great hire for AEW. Someone that is exciting, can do anything in the friggin' world, that which I've seen in his matches. And now the more and more I see of him, the more I go, this guy is a all around star, no matter how you what position you put him in or what he's in, or if it's a backstage or if he's got a live mic or he's in the ring stealing the show. And Kyle Fletcher, another one that I was like, all right, let's see what's that character. He shaved his head, did something pretty damn bold. Where are they going with this? Because I'm thinking, me 15 years ago, they made me cut my hair and dye it black and go, listen, you got this far being this much of a this character with long blonde hair and you're smarmy. We're going to switch it up now and cut you to short black hair, no reactions, all business. So now we can put you on the trajectory toward the top to give you some credibility. And I was hoping that's not what they were doing with Kyle. They cut his hair. He's a badass. He looks the part. No matter how excited and I worked up I got for Ospreay saying, giving him the riot act in the ring about what he's done, not in a group, not in a team, not because of someone else. What have you done? And that's something we all need to look in the mirror every once in a while for. And it hits home for real. And then for him to react that he wants to step out of his shadow. Kyle Fletcher wants to move on to his own thing. That was one of my absolute favorite parts of the night last night, except for the Renee backstage, of course.
Couple things from what you just said, Nick. First of all, I didn't know that. Is that why they cut your hair and they dyed it? Was because they wanted the fans to look at you differently and to make you more credible?
Yeah. The boss says, hey, listen, we're going to cut your hair and dye it black because there's no credibility for you. And I said, well, I'm 1-99 in my last 100 matches. Do you think it's something other than the hair? And like, I was like joking. And he was like, no. I went, okay. And I said, listen, if we're going to cut my hair, where are we going with this? It's like, now the credibility will happen and we'll be able to make you more realistic for fighting for titles. And I said, what if I just won sometimes? And he goes, nope, we're going to cut the hair. I went, okay. I gave it 3 tries and the boss calling the shots. I'm like, hey, this is his idea. Let's go with it. And he had me wrestle Santino and be all business. Don't even raise my eyebrows. Don't try not to overreact to anything. Don't do anything fun. Don't shake my hips. Don't interact with the crowd. And it was one of the most boring 6-minute matches that was on Raw that year. And I came back and the boss was like, well, that's not it. And I go, excuse me? You just cut my hair off and told me this. You're the boss here. It's not it. And he goes, nope, that's not it. And 2 weeks later, my hair started growing back and we dyed it blonde. And we embraced that I could be a character if we wanted to, or I could be a wrestler, however you wanted to do it. But I saw that happen a few weeks ago when he shaved his head. But I go, I know he probably has a little more control of creatively than I did. So I go, I bet he's trying to make something special happen. He's going above and beyond. And I really appreciate where he's going with this. Every week, it's something new. When he walks out with his sunglasses on and his oiled chest, I'm already booing. I love it.
And in this instance, there's a reason why Kyle Fletcher shaved his head in that promo. He did it in front of everybody to show that, hey, I'm not the person that you think I am. In your circumstance, there was no story behind. As a fan, it was just like, what happened? to Dolph
Yeah.
Ziggler. But maybe if they did it the way that Kyle did, and credit to Kyle Fletcher,
Yeah.
like if you went out there on Monday Night Raw, took out, clippers, shaved your head and said, you know what? I'm more than just shaking my hips and more than just this beautiful blonde hair. I'm a credible wrestler, and now I'm going to be a number one. Like, if that would have happened,
And by
the
the way,
fans
that takes
probably would have bought in.
like 30 seconds to a minute and shave my head.
Yes.
Everybody and just leave. Everyone go, what the hell? At least there'd be a story there. Yeah. Oh well. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, you live and you learn. Uh,
I was like, can't
uh,
we just have a 5 minute match where I put my hair on the line and in the next week I'll be all business? Nah, okay. No, yeah, sorry.
Amazing.
Oh well.
But with what I liked about that segment, and there was a lot to like, as you said,
Yes.
Nick. I love that, like, even Will Ospreay kind of opened it up and got personal, talked about the history between him and Kyle, that he would stay at his house and all the stuff that they went through, went to Japan together, like all those things. And that I like to hear. And I love that even Ospreay was like, when you cut that promo, when you cut your hair, I was sitting there on the couch watching the show with my son. And then I see this, and then, you're talking about me when we were like brothers. Like, where did this come from? I really liked it. The one thing I didn't like from that promo, and it's one thing that you got to try to avoid, is when he was saying, you've done nothing here, you've accomplished nothing here.
Yeah.
Because Kyle Fletcher has. Kyle Fletcher is a former Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champion. Kyle Fletcher is a former Ring of Honor World Television Champion. Talk that up, because Will Ospreay is talking about all his accolades and his resume in New Japan. All right, that's great, but you're not wrestling in New Japan anymore. You're wrestling in AEW. The stuff that Kyle Fletcher did is actually under the AEW umbrella. And, there's all these reports that Ring of Honor is going to have Final Battle at the Hammerstein at the Manhattan Center. The last thing you want to do is kind of make their title seem less than. And I think Ospreay was in danger of doing that last night.
I think that happens sometimes, and that's totally okay. And I'm someone who goes out of his way when it's promo time, when you're thinking of a story, if you're telling some deep story between the two of you, no matter what the situation, it's real easy to go into insult or like something that you would genuinely say in a bar. If you went and you're fighting someone in the bar and they're a 5-time MVP in Major League Baseball, you're not going to be like, I know you got those sick ass stats and I know you deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, but I'm going to kick your ass. Like, I like when you don't always have it, because we all know the story. We know how to a very famous thing that was said to me. If you call Dusty a fat old man in your promo and you lose to Dusty, you lost to a fat old man. If you call Dusty a fat old man and you somehow beat Dusty, which is rare, you beat a fat old man. So never, ever do it when someone is so big and the character is there and we all put everybody over. So it is okay to have that sometimes. So I totally get that. Like, yes, he's like, what have you done? What have you done? Okay, you won the tag titles because someone else was there and someone else had your back and I was pulling the strings for you. Well, but you can find a way to be like, what have you done on your own? And that's why. And then maybe you break it down it's okay. It's if you're not always going to list everyone's accolades and you're making it real and it's one of the best promos and stories of the night, I'll allow it to be like, you've done nothing here, because that's what a scene in a movie that would grab you. You're like, hey, I know I'm a 5-time award winner of whatever it is, and like, but you've done nothing, and you're like, damn, maybe I have, and that makes it more realistic. That makes it more we're observing like a fight on the subway instead of a choreographed back and forth wrestling thing. It was like, I know that you won 6 Intercontinental titles and 2 Atlantic. But what have you done for me lately? I much prefer my kid was holding my hand and I couldn't effing tell. What the hell have you done other than ride my coattails in this damn business, even to this company? And I go, oh shit. I love that. So I don't mind that it wasn't, for a minute, not glossing over someone's stats. We can always get back to it and there can be another piece to it, but a great promo. That's what matters, I think, here.
I agree with what you're saying, Nick. The only reason why I bring it up is because Will Ospreay had no problem listing all of his accolades.
That's fair.
That's the one thing that kind of, like, you're right. He's talking about like his son, and he's holding his son's hand and he couldn't feel it. So now you're not only taking something away from me, you're taking something away from my son. And oh yeah, I won the World Juniors, and I
Yeah,
won.
that's a good point. Shit.
Yeah, at the Tokyo Dome,
Yeah.
I won it. Like, what are we doing here?
If
Like,
you're
you don't need
listing
to
if you're
go there.
listing your own spelling bee wins, then it's only fair to rattle off like, you know what? I know you've done this here. Uh,
Or
I
just
know you
don't
stayed
go
awake the
there.
most hours for Guinness Book of World Records. I know all those stats, but no, I totally get that. That makes sense, and I forgot that he did list off. He was reading his
And he
resume,
didn't
so it's
just
only
list
fair.
one or two.
Tit
Dude,
for
it was
tit.
almost
It's only fair.
It was almost like he took out a piece of paper. It's like, this is what let me list for you all my accomplishments in New Japan. But you know what? Didn't need to go there at all, because as you know, Nick, when it gets personal and you're in a real life fight or a real life argument with somebody, you're not thinking about those types of things. You're talking about those personal things, and which I think Will Ospreay did a phenomenal job in doing last night when he talked about his son, when he talked about him sleeping on his couch and all those things. Like, that's the stuff that's going to hit hard. Those accolades in New Japan, that's self-gratifying bullshit. But the other stuff, I thought they did a phenomenal job. And Will Ospreay is the man. I not only in the ring, on the microphone, like, he is a guy that you could rally around and really, if they wanted to, make the face of AEW. I think he's that popular with the audience, and I think he's that good. And Kyle Fletcher, I thought, did a really good job of stepping up in that situation and showing off. So, without a doubt, if I was to look at last night's show, other than the main event, which we'll get into later, that was definitely the highlight of last night's Dynamite.
And you said it's someone you could build a company around, someone you can make the world champion. I love that you absolutely can, and you don't even have to. You can have other people who need to be in the title scene working on that, while because of the storytelling, because of the angle that they have where they were buddies, because of, like, when his music hits, the place goes nuts. No matter how many people are out there, no matter what the arena is, people feed off of him and love it. So it is great when you have someone like that, and you don't even have him as the world champion because he doesn't need it at the moment. So you can always have that. It helps your company out. You will always have a title scenario, plus the Ospreay thing, plus you have Amber or Moxley, and you could always have these go-to pieces, whether they're part of the title or not, that people will be invested in because they've invested in themselves and their characters. So I love where they're going with this. I love that he's not the champion. I know he has been different champions, but I like that when you have somebody who's gets such a reaction when they come out and can embrace their character and do everything in the ring, to where that's that whole punch card, again, like Renee was like 10 out of 10 all the way down. This is a performer on the mic, in the ring, backstage, you name it, and plays the part perfectly. There's something special there, whether they don't make him champion for 5 years or he is in a month. It doesn't matter. Everyone's going to be watching his segments, and that segment was really, really well done last night, I thought.